back to Studio 5. It's typically one of those taboo dinner table topics, but we are jumping into politics today for one purpose only: to point out a teaching moment that parents will want to take advantage of, sharing social lessons straight out of the current presidential campaign to help raise your kids to be the good people you want them to be. Studio 5 relationship coach Dr. Matt Townsend is here with social skills we can learn from the candidates. It's so good to see you. I love this topic. So regardless of your political stance, right, it is not hard to notice. You can't escape the negativity and get caught up in the rhetoric. What messages are our kids taking away?
Well, what's funny is I didn't think they cared. I really didn't think they were even paying attention. But with every night of a debate, like I'll go home, I'll watch one of the debates, but my kids are always asking the craziest questions. Dad, why is Donald so rude or mean? And is Hillary going to jail? Just things like, but I'm wondering where they're hearing this, but they talk about it in their civics or their government classes. They're talking about this stuff. And my friend said that this and this and this is going on. And then as we're watching debates, they're yelling at each other. They see the candidates yelling, and it starts to create this thought in my head. Nobody has more political things and chaos going on than a 14-year-old girl or boy. It's never more political in the world than in that little microcosm at school, and yet they're watching the big political world. So I thought, what if I could teach my kids how to be better socially, politically with their friends, and not be so much a politician, but teach them how to just be a really positive person to get people instead of just politicking.
Well, what's
that's where it came from.
You've got some social strategies to teach your children and put into play. As I was looking over this list, it really does come down to two choices. You can be a politician, right? In any life situation, or you can be a good person. Not saying the two aren't mutually exclusive, but we're not seeing those two come together right now.
In fact, we see a lot of politicking, and so and politicking is, I'd even call it more politicking than being a politician, because the politician can be polite and can be positive. But here's one of the differences. For example, I teach my kids, and when they see something that's being said on television about like a candidate's about their tanning, or about their sweatiness, or about their hands, or about somebody making fun of someone's face, which has all been said this year, I say, look, let's focus on actions. Guys, always speak louder than words. The politicker has to up the words. They have to make them more aggressive. They have to make the words more mean. The polite, the kind, positive person understands that it's better to just prove by what you do, by being a good person, by acting appropriately. That's how you win people over. You don't win people over by making fun of people. You don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to make big claims to become a popular teenager. What you need to be is just a good person that people can trust. And again, in the political world, it would work just as well, but we have to use a lot of bravado, a lot of noise, and just a lot of put downs. And in a way, almost everybody's doing it, so it's not one person. A lot of people might think I'm talking about one person.
But to play devil's advocate, some people are getting positive attention.
Right, but see, but the same thing would happen as a 14-year-old. If I made fun of a girl that was not so pretty or struggling or not so good at school, if I made fun of her, there would be people in the group that would laugh with me. But it doesn't make any of it right. So I want to teach my child that what they're experiencing is what's going on nationally, is what's going on in the world, and the reality of life is actions speak louder than words. You've got to understand who you are and make sure that you don't try to win people over by your words, by your language. Win them over by your day-to-day actions, day in and day out.
And that leads into social lesson number 2 we can share with our kids, as pulled from the campaign trail, that people are at play here. People matter. People matter more than polls and power and popularity. The reality in a political world, people are kind of seen as a means to an end. You're only an important person to me if you can get me what I want. And in the political world, we also tend to see people not as humans, but as groups. We see them as white males, white females, black females, Hispanic males. We see them as groups that can vote, voting blocks. We see them as party bosses, but we don't see these people as human beings. I want my kids to not just see the popular and the skater and the geek. I want my kid to see all of these people are people that are fellow citizens
citizens on the traveling party of Earth, trying to make it through this life. And I want my kids to realize that if they make fun of a little girl at school, that little girl is a person. She has a soul, she has a heart, she's hurting.
She's not just part of a group or a clique.
That's right. Don't mess. And just because we might have some people saying it in the world and in the marketplace of ideas, it doesn't mean it's appropriate. So teach your kids that people reign supreme, and they're not a means to your popularity.
I think it's so fascinating, you know, you've been getting these questions from your own kids, that these conversations about politicking are happening in the junior high hallways. So I'm curious to know how that's affecting their view on confidence. Are they getting a warped view on what confidence really is?
Well, if you look at politically, we get our confidence by the poll or by how many people like us, but our kids get a very big boost of confidence by how many Facebook friends they have, how many Instagram followers they have, and so it is warping them. So I want my kids to know your confidence always comes from the inside out, not the outside in. We can't become popular by having, you know, the right charisma and the right personality and popularity. My truest sense of confidence has to come from the fact that I know what my principles in life are. I live my principles. I have character. I am strong, and my strength comes from the inside out. And that's what makes it so when a candidate does lose a race, that they can move on, because they know who they are, they know what they're about, and they know that they're not about this external appearance. One of the rules is you can't be something publicly with others that you are not privately with yourself. If I don't trust myself privately, I can't be trustworthy with you in the long run, because I don't even trust myself.
Right.
I know I don't. I know I'm lying, and I know I'm saying things just to get elected, or I'm saying things to be popular. We want to make sure our kids understand that if they don't have integrity, then when push comes to shove, in the end, they're not going to have a clue who to rely on when times get tough. In the end, we will always know, and I tell this to my kids all the time, in the end, whether you cheat or not, whether you lie or not, whether you're great or not, you're going to know. You're going to know if I don't know. You're going to know if everyone else thinks you're great. You're going to know if you didn't do it with integrity and with character.
So at the end of the day, there are politicians on both sides of the aisles who maybe make money or get noticed or even win elections, and they behaved very badly. So how then, at the end of the day, can you counter that message with your kids?
And what I teach them is that's kind of the randomness of life. And that is the dichotomy of life. You can seemingly win in the world and not win as a person. You can win by the crowd cheering, but not have the moral victory. And so what I teach my kids is, in the end, obtain the moral victory. Be the moral person you need to be first, with people, with your popularity, and how you grow your character. Be that first. Then I believe that will propel you to more success, instead of doing it the other way around. It's a hard thing to teach. And yet, if you don't bring it up and if you don't start showing it, and you can show it in the media world, you can show it with football players, baseball players, with popular actresses, actors. There's a million examples of people that made it big publicly that didn't have the character to hold it personally.
What a powerful teaching opportunity to translate that, to bring it down to their level, our kids' level.
We got 7 more months of this. This isn't going away.
Buckle up.
This isn't going away. Good
conversation, Matt. Thanks. What's happening on MattTownsend.com?
If you go to MattTownsend.com, one thing you do is sign up for our date night, or not our date nights, for our consults, where you can just come in, we'll sit down with you, measure what's going on in your relationship. We'll do it for free. Just you and your honey. And we sit down with you, and we'll help you assess what's going on, come up with some solutions, show you how to improve your marriage.
Do you like how I cheered for that?
I like that.
With your honey. With your honey.
It's cool.
Thanks, Matt.
Did you see that magic trick, by the way?
Did you have 3 extra cards in your pocket, really?
I had 12.
No, did you beforehand? Was the joke on me?
I was empty.
Wow, it was amazing. We'll be right back.